Life exists in every corner of the planet, from high mountains to deep oceans, and from blazing deserts to the freezing polar regions. Each animal's body, life cycle, and behavior is adapted to its particular habitat because this maximizes its chances of survival. Plant species, too, have their own adaptations that help them thrive. There are probably at least 1 million undiscovered species in the mud of the deep ocean floor, perhaps up to 100 million. Living in water gives more support than living on land. So many sea creatures survive without strong skeletons. Seawater carries clouds of microscopic life forms and dead matter, and many sea animals can afford to give up moving from place to place, fix themselves to the seabed, and filter feed by grabbing these passing pieces of food. Tropical coral reefs are giant growths of filter feeding life forms on the seabed. The power of flight allows birds to reach the remotest islands, and some to live in different parts of the world in summer and winter, migrating between the two. There is almost nowhere on Earth that lacks bird life. Here are their secrets. Most bird bones are hollow, reinforced by bony struts. 2 layers of body feathers keep the bird's skin warm. Wing and tail feathers provide the lift and steer the bird in flight. Bird lungs are far more efficient than mammals, giving them the oxygen they need for energetic flight. The water in the Arctic and Antarctic is so cold, fish are in danger of freezing. Above the water, it is even colder, and no large cold-blooded animals exist. Warm-blooded animals, those able to retain body heat, predominate. Polar mammals often have 2 layers of fur, an underlayer of soft hairs that trap air warmed by the animal's body close to the skin, and an outer coat of coarse hairs that keeps out the fiercest gales. This Arctic mammal has a bulky, rounded body surrounded by fat and fur to keep it warm. The waxy, fleshy bodies of desert cacti store water. The leaves are reduced to spines, which lose less water to the air. The roots of a cactus may spread out over a wide area to absorb as much water as possible. In rainforests, plants are in strong competition to reach sunlight. They all grow as fast as possible whenever there is an opening allowing in the sun. In deserts, plants get plenty of sunlight, but they struggle to get enough water from the soil to reach the sun. Many rainforest plants are specialists at climbing, and others are epiphytes, which grow on top of other plants. Many rainforest leaves taper to a long point, a drip tip to help excess rainwater run off. The driest parts of the world challenge plants and animals, and desert wildlife is not as abundant as in wetter regions. Desert life forms must get enough water and keep what they have. Some desert animals get all the water they need from their food. Dinosaur fossils occur in layers of rock that formed millions of years ago. Scientists excavate the fossils in places where the movements of the Earth's tectonic plates have forced these layers to surface. Zhucheng, or Dinosaur City in China, has yielded more than 7,600 fossils. In addition to bones, nests, eggs, and tracks, fossils include traces of skin and feathers, and even dinosaur poop. Fossil hunters have found tracks preserved in mud and sand that later turned into rock. These tracks can tell us how dinosaurs walked and whether they lived alone or in groups. Found on every continent and in every ocean, predators are animals that kill and eat other creatures. With their incredible array of hunting strategies and body parts adapted for killing, they include some of the most fascinating species on the planet. African wild dogs can chase down prey at 25 miles per hour for 3 miles or more. Polar bears can kill with a single swipe from one of its 40-pound front paws. Golden eagles, with its amazing eyesight, can spot prey 1.25 miles away. Peregrine falcons can dive onto prey at 125 miles per hour, making it the fastest animal on Earth. When a peregrine falcon dives on a pigeon at full speed, the force of the impact may decapitate its prey. The California sea lion may hunt non-stop for 30 hours, diving for up to 5 minutes at a time. The sperm whale may dive to 4,000 feet deep in search of giant squid, and tunas are able to swim at 50 miles per hour, hunting fish and squid near the surface. So all the animals form a food chain, and a food chain shows how food energy passes from one living thing to the next. Food chains start with plants, which use sunlight to make their own food. Plants are eaten by herbivores. Predators eat herbivores and other predators. Very few wild animals hunt people for food, but many pose a danger when they feel threatened, especially those armed with venom. Many snakes, spiders, and other animals inject venom to paralyze or stun their prey. This venom can also be deadly to humans. The venom of the blue-ringed octopus is 10,000 times more toxic than cyanide, and there's no cure. The grizzly bear causes 5 to 10 deaths a year, occasionally attacking humans when surprised or with cubs. The black bear killed 2 people in the US in 2011 and 23 people since 1900. They rarely attack, but often live near humans, so conflicts do happen. And humans are the same size of the great white shark's natural prey, the seals. So since 1876, the great white shark has killed more than 70 people, 9 of those off the coast of California. The golden poison dart frog has the most potent toxin in the animal kingdom and kills 15 people a year. The eastern diamondback rattlesnake bites 7,000 to 8,000 people in the US each year, and the symptoms can be fatal if it's untreated. The European black widow spider's venom is 15 times stronger than a rattlesnake's, and around 400 vulnerable people die of bee stings each year. The asp viper causes about 90% of all snake bites in Italy, but only 4% of those are fatal. The hippos cause more than 300 deaths a year, sometimes by upturning boats. The box jellyfish has enough toxin to kill 60 humans, and in the Philippines, 20 to 40 people die each year from stings. The tsetse fly transmits sleeping sickness, which kills up to 10,000 people a year. The venom from the stonefish injected by spines and cause unbearable pain and death in a few hours if not treated. But some victims of stonefish venom say it's good for their arthritis. Despite being fatal, animal toxins are actually useful. Scientists have adapted the toxin from poison dart frogs to produce a potent painkiller. Invasive species are animals or plants that enter and thrive in an environment where they are not native. Native species usually have no defense. The invading aliens can wipe out native species by preying on them or outcompeting them. Invasive species have played a part in almost half of the animal extinctions that have occurred in the past 400 years. Fleas and other parasites can hitch a hike on animal or human hosts. Rats, mice, and insects can travel hidden in ship's cargo. Some species sneak in when empty cargo ships take on local seawater as ballast, then pump it out at their destination. Every day, 3,000 marine organisms are transported around the world in this way. Thus now, about 90% of the world's islands have now been invaded by rats. Some species are deliberately introduced by humans. This can be by hunters for meat, fur, or sport, by farmers, or for biological control, where a new species is introduced to control native pests. Some invaders are escaped pets or plants washed out of home aquariums. A few have been released by immigrants who introduce familiar wildlife to remind them of home. The gypsy moth, which is native in France, costs about $870 million each year in damage to U.S. trees. The American bullfrog, which is native to North America, is now a resident of more than 40 countries. The warty comb jellyfish, which is a recent arrival via tankers from the U.S., is now accounting for 95% of the weight of all living things in the Black Sea. The Nile fish has contributed to the extinction of more than 200 fish species in Lake Victoria in Brazil. On Christmas Island, 3 million red land crabs have been killed by the yellow crazy ants. More than 200 million rabbits overran Australia from an original 24 released by an English immigrant for hunting. Australians are trying to control their 200 million cane toads, which were themselves introduced to control bee crop pests, by culling and genetic engineering. Many birds breed in one location during summer and then fly off to spend the winter somewhere warmer. Later in the year, they return to raise the next generation. These annual flights or migrations over thousands of miles and require incredible stamina. In a lifetime that can span more than 30 years, an Arctic tern may fly the equivalent of 3 round trips to the moon, as they fly from the Antarctic to Greenland in 40 days. Some Arctic terns fly up to 49,700 miles per year. Places that lie on the flight path of many birds are known as migration bottlenecks. These are especially important for soaring birds, such as storks and birds of prey. These birds can't fly far over water, so they rely on routes with the shortest sea crossings. Millions of birds may pass at these favorite spots. In Panama, the Strait of Gibraltar, Sicily and Malta, as well as Egypt. Each spring, the red knots travel from the tip of South America to their breeding grounds in the Canadian Arctic. They spend over half of the year on this 18,600-mile round trip. Bar-tailed godwits fly from New Zealand to breed in Alaska. On the return trip, one was tracked flying 7,258 miles non-stop over the Pacific Ocean, the longest continuous journey ever recorded for a bird. A bar-tailed godwit may travel up to 286,000 miles during the course of its life. Graceful swimmers, superb divers, and powerful predators, whales and orcas are among the most impressive ocean creatures. They were once hunted near to extinction. Today, thousands of people take whale watching trips to see these majestic marine mammals in the wild. The blue whale is the largest animal ever to have lived on Earth. Its tongue alone can weigh as much as an elephant. Whales travel to cold waters near the poles to feed, then move to warmer waters closer to the equator to breed. Few species migrate across the equator, so there can be separate populations in the northern and southern hemispheres. From June to November each year, more than 300 southern right whales gather off the state of Santa Catarina to mate, calve, and nurse their young. Unfortunately, 1 million sperm whales were killed before hunting them was banned in 1981. There are only about 450 North Atlantic right whales left. Most spend the summer feeding in the waters from New York to Nova Scotia in Canada. They head south in winter to breed in the warmer waters off Georgia and Florida. Fast, powerful, and armed with razor-sharp teeth, sharks are superb predators. They are much feared, but attacks on people are relatively rare. Humans, in contrast, kill 100 million sharks per year. Some shark species are found in freshwater habitats. The bull shark, for example, lives in warm coastal waters worldwide, but it sometimes swims up larger rivers and into lakes. Bull sharks are very territorial, so if they find humans swimming in the river, they may attack them. Some shark species cruise almost all the world's oceans, while others have a more limited range, preferring either cooler or warmer seas. The whale shark is the largest fish in the ocean, reaching a length of 40 feet or more. The whale shark prefers warm waters. It feeds mainly on plankton. The basking shark, at 30 feet long, this is the second largest fish, found in temperate water. It swims open-mouthed, filtering plankton from the water. The great white shark is found in the majority of the world's oceans, and it has made the most recorded attacks on humans, and it can swim over 25 miles per hour. During 2003 to 2004, a female great white shark nicknamed Nicole made the longest known migration by a shark. Nicole swam from Africa to Australia and back, more than 12,400 miles in 9 months. She mostly swam at the surface, but at times reached depths of up to 3,200 feet. The pygmy shark, at 8 to 10 inches long, is one of the smallest sharks. It hunts squid at depths of up to 6,000 feet in subtropical and temperate seas. Hiding in the muddy waters of the world's greatest rivers are some of the largest and most ferocious underwater creatures in existence. Many can become larger than a fully grown human, and some are man-eaters. In ancient Japanese folklore, a giant catfish named Namazu lived in the mud under the sea and causes earthquakes. The North American white sturgeon, similar to the sturgeons lived 100 million years ago, it depends heavily on its sense of smell. The marbled lungfish in the dry season can dig itself into a mud cocoon for up to 2 years. The gavial, which is an endangered crocodile with a long, thin snout, good for catching fish, can grow to 23 feet long. But the sizes of river monsters shown here are mainly extreme historical records. It has always been rare for them to reach such sizes, but especially so these days, since most are overfished and several are critically endangered. Through history, though, the arapaima has existed for around 100 million years. We know of more than 1 million different types of insect, and more are identified every year. They have fascinating habits, and their strange appearances can be seen with the help of microscopes and special cameras. At any one time, there are an estimated 10 quintillion individual insects alive. When insects form a large group that moves as a single unit, it's called a swarm. Insects sometimes migrate in swarms, or they swarm when looking for a new home, a mate, or for food. By instinct alone, every year, millions of monarch butterflies travel up to 2,500 miles from northern parts of America to warmer climates as far south as Mexico before they returned north in spring. The Rhyniognatha was the earliest type of insect. A 400-million-year-old fossil was found in Scotland in 1919. Scientists believe it may have been winged. The fairy wasp is the smallest type of insect. It's only 0.006 inches long, only visible under a powerful microscope. The termite queen is the longest in life. It can live up to 45 years. The Goliath beetle has the heaviest larva, and it can weigh up to 100 grams. The frog hopper is the highest jumper. It jumps up to 28 inches, about 150 times its own height, comparable to a human jumping over a 60-story building. The Himalayan cicada is the loudest insect. It calls up to 120 decibels, as loud as an ambulance siren. The dung beetle is the strongest insect. It can pull 1,141 times its own body weight, the equivalent of an average human pulling 6 double-decker buses full of people. The chance megastick is the longest insect, in 22.5 inches long. Only 6 specimens have ever been found, all on the island of Borneo. The Australian tiger beetle is the fastest runner at 5.6 miles per hour, equivalent to a human running at 480 miles per hour. The horsefly is the fastest flyer at maximum speed, recorded briefly on takeoff at 90 miles per hour. The next fastest are dragonflies and hawk moths at around 30 to 35 miles per hour. The giant weta is the heaviest insect, weighing up to 70 grams, heavier than a sparrow. The flea is the longest jumper. It can jump over 200 times its body length. The stink bug is the smelliest insect. Its toxic odor can be smelled by humans about 3¼ to 5 feet away.